Let's start in Boulder, Colorado, where peaceful demonstrators who had gathered to honor Israeli hostages in Gaza were violently attacked. Police say a man used a makeshift flamethrower to try to set people on fire. 8 people were injured and at least 1 person is in critical condition right now. The suspect has been identified and faces multiple charges this morning. Our Naomi Ruchim joins me here in Studio 57 with more on this. Naomi, good morning.
Errol, the FBI is calling this a targeted act of violence and investigating the attack as an act of terrorism. The suspect is an Egyptian national whose visa expired more than 2 years ago. Charges were just filed against him, including attempted murder and the use of explosives during a felony. Investigators are now delving into his background and social media posts as they try to determine what inspired him to commit the attack and if he acted alone.
There is a male with a blowtorch setting people on fire.
A shocking attack in downtown Boulder. Witnesses say this man, identified by the FBI as 45-year-old Mohamed Sabry Soliman, used a makeshift flamethrower and threw Molotov cocktails, burning people who were marching to support the Israeli hostages held in Gaza.
I heard a big boom and people yelling and screaming.
Tourist Alex Osante says the attack happened while he was having lunch at a nearby restaurant.
One person caught on fire from head to toe.
Osante says he gave bottles of water to people who rushed in to help the victims. Witnesses and authorities say the suspect was heard yelling phrases including "Free Palestine" before he was taken into custody at the scene.
It is clear that this is a targeted act of violence, and the FBI is investigating this as an act of terrorism.
A U.S. official confirms to CBS News that the suspect is an Egyptian national who overstayed his visa after entering the U.S. in August of 2022. He has recently lived in Colorado Springs, and the FBI says it is also conducting operations in El Paso County.
The fact that this is happening to Jews in my local community makes me scared.
Leaders of Boulder's Jewish community released a statement Sunday saying, when events like this enter our own community, we are shaken. Our hope is that we come together for one another. The attack comes as Jews around the world mark the holiday of Shavuot, which commemorates the giving of the Torah to the Jewish people. The suspect is being held in county jail on a bond of $10 million and is scheduled for a court appearance this afternoon. And this attack comes less than 2 weeks after a young couple was gunned down outside of a Jewish museum in Washington. The suspect in that attack also yelled, "Free Palestine." Errol?
All right, Naomi Ruchim with the latest. Thank you for that. Rodney Harrison brings us some analysis now. He's the former chief of department at the NYPD. Good morning, Rodney. You know, what's noteworthy is one of the organizers for this event tells CBS News that their group reached out several times to Boulder police, flagging security concerns. So what, if anything, does BPD need to explain about that now?
Yeah, so first and foremost, I don't want to second guess the men and women of the Boulder Police Department, but I will say this, that this is something that nationwide, that all local law enforcement needs to take a look at regarding anytime there's a Jewish community event, what's going to be their response? And are they having that engagement with the Jewish leaders to make sure that there's the appropriate coverage? Unfortunately, when you have an event that's overseas, it has an effect on our country as well. And we got to make sure that there's a partnership going forward to make sure that these domestic terrorist attacks don't continue going into the future.
And what now then might police be learning about the suspect's potential motive? We noted there that he yelled "Free Palestine," but he was also trying to burn people with this makeshift flamethrower and Molotov cocktails. Really quite violent act. So what do they need to stitch together?
So there's a couple of things they're going to need to stitch together. You know, of course, they're going to take a look at his criminal history, his mental history, you know, how he got into this country. But now we're going to start looking into some type of technology and capture video surveillance to see, was he walking over to this location by himself? Was he with somebody prior to this attack? And now the next step after that is going into the future is taking a deep dive into his residence where, you know, are there any manifestos? go in and get a search warrant for his computer and see if he is working with a terrorist group or was this a lone wolf type of attack. So a lot more work needs to be done. But I will say the follow-up in the investigation is going to help to potentially interdict a terrorist attack going into the future.
All right, Rodney Harrison, we appreciate you joining us to talk about this. Thanks for your time.